Yeah.
Right?
Sure. How's your day going?
It's going all right. The flight was a bit delayed, so I'm happy to be on the ground.
Ah, where were you flying in from or out of?
In from New York.
Ah,
Yeah, my sister was in New York City for the weekend, so I went to visit her. But
nice.
it's a very, very different pace there. So
Yeah. So you're coming home?
yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, New York City, I've been through it a few times. I've been in Brooklyn a little bit, and it's not a place you really want to be for too much time unless, you know, you got a busy itinerary there for business.
I always think of, the Sinatra, if you make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yes.
I'm so comfortable not making it anywhere. I'm fine only making it a few places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a busy city. So what did you fly LaGuardia or?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. Ugh.
It wasn't too bad. I've done LaGuardia and JFK in years past. And I don't know if it was the shutdown or I expected everything to be very packed, but it wasn't the worst.
Interesting.
Yeah.
LaGuardia is like usually a headache. I've been in and out of there a couple of times, but.
And we boarded on time and everything. We just sat in the tarmac for a long time. So I don't know. It didn't seem to be the airport so much as the conditions, you know.
That is like a recurring memory of mine. Whenever I think of LaGuardia, it was every time we'd fly out of it. I think it was twice on Eastern. One might have been Delta Airlines, and we just sat there on the tarmac forever.
Yeah.
It was like
it's the worst. I would always rather do that on the way out than when you land and you're stuck. I hate that.
Oh yeah. Got ants in your pants, getting all antsy.
Yeah.
I want to stand up. Just let me stand up.
It's so claustrophobic. And so, best case scenario. Well, better of many cases scenario. I guess.
Yep.
Not too bad this time.
Good.
How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, just starting off, trying to get to things early. It seems like now that the time has shifted and the hours and everything, business as far as rides is kind of dropping off faster in the evening.
Oh, sure. People are staying home.
Yeah, it's cold. Nobody wants to go out. It's dark. I mean, especially like even all my riders yesterday, I was noticing were driving around and they're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, it's just 5:30.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
It is such a heartbreak every year. I'm trying to get out in the morning and go on a walk before the workday to make sure that I see the sunshine.
Yeah.
Because it's really just, it's done, you know?
It is.
But that's all right. I always feel better after December 21st because that's when the days start getting longer again.
Yep. I'm always looking forward to that day. I'm like, we're so close.
Yeah.
Start adding some time back on.
That is my personal holiday.
Yeah. I love sunlight. I gotta have sunlight.
Me too.
Even back when I was, I used to dabble into, well, I was more than that. I was an LED engineer and I was making pool lights.
Wow.
And my swimming pool lights that I was making back in 2009, I dialed them into overhead daylight, which is about 5,500 Kelvin.
Whoa.
And the funny thing about that, you probably remember when you were a kid or something, swimming around in a pool, and it looks kind of green when a pool light's on because that's an amber color and the pool is blue, and it's like Ziploc. I call it the Ziploc effect. Yellow and blue make green. But when you get a perfectly colored light in there of overhead daylight, what ended up happening was it was the weirdest effect in the world. At night, if the water wasn't moving, it didn't look like there was any water in there at all.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it was like so perfectly, it was the same as your eyeball would be receiving it in daylight if daylight was bouncing down at it.
Strange.
Yeah, and the other really kind of wacky thing was because the light was so perfect, number one, it took a lot less wattage to illuminate, and so I saved people a ton of money on that. And it turned out every imperfection in the plastering of the pool surface. So when they put a pool surface in, they plaster it in, and you could see like swipe marks or areas when they went a little too deep and here and there.
I'm sure the person plastering it in thought, no one will see this.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah, they won't tell. They can't tell. Not until later when you get better light in there. But yeah, if you find yourself like at a deficit for light, try to get yourself a desk lamp or something that's 5500 Kelvin, and you know that'll kind of mimic overhead daylight. Or if you want to try to get more of the spring colors in, you get something that's a little more on the blue spectrum, which would be higher, like 6000 or 6500 Kelvin would have a little bit more blue in it. Just like in the fall time, if you drop the Kelvin a little bit to like 5000 or 4500 as the sun, you know, gets a little yellower in the season, it kind of mimics that. There's technology out there, it's been for years, and especially they'd use it in hotels out in like Asia and Asian countries, where the lights would tune according to the outside. So if it was fall, it would be a little bit warmer. If it was spring, it'd be a little bit cooler of a light. So it was kind of neat.
That's funny. I'm sure that I knew that intellectually, that the light is actually different. Like, it makes sense. But in my mind, it's one of those things that, like, I don't know, you write about in metaphor. Like the idea of measuring it. Of course it's measurable. I have never used a desk lamp in that way, but I have used SAD lamps a lot.
What's a SAD lamp?
It's seasonal affective disorder. They make these particular lamps that are supposed to mimic the sun.
It's like a globe? Does it look like a moon?
It doesn't have to be. I think it's something about the wattage. I imagine it's close to. It's like a special bulb, and I don't really understand, but it's supposed to mimic sunlight, and you're supposed to use it first thing in the morning. I'm originally from Chicago, so I have very gray pictures.
Oh yeah.
So I would use it first thing in the morning so that my body would be tricked into like, hey, it's day now.
Yeah.
It feels the same. But yeah, SAD lamps.
Interesting. That makes sense. You know, back when I was getting into that, and I was even working for a place called Illumination America, you know, we were getting our hands on studies about light therapy for people, and especially, you know, the difference of fluorescent lighting, which is a high pulsary rate that really affects people who are sensitive to that. It gives them headaches and things like that. Those are the people who used to have a constant desk lamp on to like focus their attention, so it wouldn't be so, I don't know really how to put it into words, but even to like places that don't get a whole lot of light, like you were mentioning, or even like where you were from, where it's very dark and gray, and in Chicago, Switzerland has done a lot of studies on light therapy and how it affects people, you know, and it's a big thing up there for inside of their buildings to get the proper light for health benefits for, you know, employees and people.
So my sister lives in Zurich most of the year.
Oh, cool.
That's why I went out to see her when she was on this continent. And we were just talking about, we were walking through the hotel that we were staying in, and she was like, I don't know how anyone gets any work done in this kind of lighting. Like, I need something really bright to do my work, and I wonder if it's just kind of the water she swims in now, that the light is attuned to the time of day.
Interesting. Yeah, I was trying to get in and get into this public school system down in Florida through one of my classmates who ended up being the assistant manager of our high school, or not manager, but principal rather. And I was trying to tell him, especially for like the special ed classes where you have kids with who are highly autistic, we're very sensitive to that, to at least change the lights out, you know, in those classrooms to benefit the children, so it doesn't, you know, make them malfunction in a sense, you know. And let alone they should be changing it all throughout the schools, and hopefully they have, for, you know, just the mental benefit of kids. Because if you can tune in the right light, I mean, more in the blue, they say it adds to creativeness. You know, more in the red side is you know, more of kind of like the anxiety and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why we have red traffic lights and red tail lights, because it's an emotional kind of color, you know. And there's It's generalistic. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but there's reasons in how colors affect us and things like that.
So how does that work in the world of, blue lights with screens being disruptive? Is that a different thing, or?
That's a good question. Blue light, I've seen a lot of people concerned with blue light filters and things like that. It sounds to me, I'm not sure, I haven't looked into it, but it sounds to me like it might be a UV thing. Because there are some UV rays that are not good, and even though they could be fine at a low level for a low period of time, they may affect you and your vision and things like that over a period. Like, for instance, I'm a hydroponic grower, and if I don't use these particular green glasses that I have, and I just go into the light and the lights are on full spectrum, I'll start seeing spots. Like when I come out of the room, and I'll see like things are off color, and it's a little more intense in there, obviously, because of the wattage involved and all that. But I'm just kind of relating to that, thinking, too much color in there, it can kind of trick the eyes, even in a certain way. Like if you think about how to correct eyes, if you get glasses, and of course not everybody's vision is correctable, but glasses help to strengthen your eyes so it can correct itself, in most cases. And the same thing is true, I mean, you can be blinded by light, so there's a lot of funny things as far as ocular effects with colors, with UV, with patterns even of light, and how it affects people on an individual basis. We can't make like a general statement, but that's my speculation on it. Too much blue light, maybe on the UV spectrum, that's bothering the, I don't even know the section of the eye that it would be bothered from. It'd have to be back to the nerves, because your eyes are just basically
lenses.
Yeah, exactly. So something with an ocular nerve, possibly.
I think about that. I remember asking my dad about something to do with vision when I was younger. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but he said that scientists, when they were first starting to understand how eyes function, thought it would be very difficult. How do you see the thing you're seeing? Until we realized that eyes are not doing the seeing. Your nerves and your brain are doing the seeing. And of course, that is why studying the brain is so difficult. Well, one of many reasons. What was I going to ask you? Oh, what do you grow hydroponically?
Hemp.
Very cool.
I've been a licensed hemp farmer here. We started under the pilot program, good Lord, was it 7 or 8 years ago? Yeah. So I also have subtropicals that I do that are not hydroponic, that are in worm dirt right now, and I really need a transplant. But I have miracle fruit, chocolate, and chocolate sapote.
Forgive me, what is miracle fruit?
Yeah. That's a rabbit hole you need to jump down. Miracle fruit is this amazing berry that has this fantastical effect on our taste buds through a protein that can actually turn sour and bitter foods into ultra sweet flavors. And it's pH dependent, so if you get a very low acidic, let's say you have a lemon that was picked way early, and it's very sour and it doesn't have the sweetness. If you eat one of these miracle berries, it coats your palate, and you'll have this, it tastes like way too sweet, like somebody dumped sugar on the lemon. And I grew miracle fruit in Florida when I was part of the Rare Fruit Tree Council down there well over 20 years ago. And just becoming more familiar, and also as a hemp farmer, I wanted to, and they're very scarce, by the way. I visited the Miracle Fruit Farm in Miami earlier this year. They're pretty much the only ones, besides a couple of places in Africa, that you can get this amazing berry. But nobody realizes how much it could actually save our healthcare system. People especially who gotta have sweet foods, there's now a safe alternative. There's children out there with what I would call taste sensory disorders, and highly autistic children who won't eat anything unless it's super sweet. Well, guess what? There's a natural berry that has 0 sugar in it that they can still get that sweet sensation from, and it won't do anything damaging to their body or their cells or anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fantastical. It's the plant originates from the West Congo region in Africa, and yeah, it's called miracle fruit. I found out when I spoke with the owner at the Miracle Fruit Farm, she said that there were individuals from California who came out to source the products from them, and they went on Shark Tank. So if you want to see something really cool, and it's a really good nutshell of what miracle fruit's all about, check out on YouTube. I think they call it Miracle Berry. I think they call it Miracle Berry. But if you did like Shark Tank miracle fruit, it would pop up, and it's a real head trip. So I was bringing it to my friends and all, and we were doing what's called flavor tripping parties. So you get an assortment of foods and things like that, and you each take a berry, and then you try these different foods. I was drinking, I did like, what is it, 3 or 4 different vinegars. Apple cider vinegar, sweet as anything, tasted like apple juice. White vinegar, distilled vinegar, tasted sweet, just like a sweet drink. Balsamic, that tasted great too, and I forget what the other one was. And then at another time, we were messing around with it, and we took slices of apples, was all we really had, and we drenched it in yellow mustard and then rolled it in granulated garlic, and it tasted like the sweetest thing in the world.
Funny.
It was hilarious.
So strange.
Yeah. I give it out samples. They sell them down there in like freeze-dried cubes, because back in the 60s, there was a gentleman who was testing this and trying to bring it to market. And of course, Big Sugar behind the scenes had something to do with them not doing it. But so it's not allowed to be used as a food additive. It has to be sold and used as a food, like itself, which really sucks, because kind of like sugar's added in everything. If you added a little bit of miracle fruit into a lot of things, you'd have a natural sweetener. Yeah. So there's a big conspiracy behind how that happened and all, and you know, hopefully one of these days, once I get my greenhouse in the backyard, which who knows when that'll be, but that's a dream of mine I'm going to do. I'm going to get some tropical fruit growing and make it a thing and try to introduce more people to it. I met, and I need to talk to him more about it, Gregory Francis, who was like the president of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And down there along the equator is the best place for where the miracle fruit grows, because it likes 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness at all times. Yeah, me too, miracle fruit. So yeah, Florida's okay in what they're doing down there, but they need to be more far south in order to be productive. So a lot of these islands, you know, in third world kind of countries, Dominican Republic, you know, Virgin Islands, Jamaica, all these other, Cuba, they all could be growing miracle fruit and pretty much like really saving humanity of some serious health issues.
That is really interesting. How did you come across this?
Through the Rare Fruit Tree Council sale in Melbourne, Florida, when I was down there, Melbourne Beach. Yeah.
How did you end up here?
I had enough of Florida. Sure.
I think it's a low dose kind of place.
Yeah. I've been through a lot, and I was a single dad and stuff, and I needed to get to a peaceful place. And I remember coming up here as a kid and how much I enjoyed it. So I came up and visited, and I was like, yeah, I'm moving up here. And at the time, I was doing my own LED pool and spa lights. So I was able to kind of go anywhere in the United States, but I knew I had to get out of Florida. It's like I just had to get away from the demons there, you know.
You know, it's so interesting. My drive here, I had an Uber driver who also, he said he was third generation Floridian, but he came up here as a kid a lot. And that's why he ended up here about 30 years ago. I wonder, there must be a population of Floridians who this is like their
big time. And what I found out this year, driving around, there's a lot of summer camps up here that Florida kids get sent to. So a lot. Even a couple of guys are like, yeah, we met as, you know, I started coming up here years ago when we were kids at a summer camp, and, you know, we come up here all the time, and now we moved here and this and that. So, yeah, it's a place to be, apparently. There's a lot of Floridians up here.
I had no idea. I know that North Carolina broadly is obviously conservative, but Asheville is so liberal.
Oh, yeah.
And in my mind, Florida is not. So it's an interesting, I don't know, pathway, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I'm mostly conservative myself, even though I would consider myself apolitical.
Sure.
You know, I don't go to either side. I go to the side that's the lesser of the two evils. Usually is the only way we can go. You know, in our
bipartisan is hard, yeah.
Yeah, and our own opinions, and however that, it strikes you in certain ways, and to each their own. But the thing about Asheville, I think that really everybody can agree upon is that people don't care really who you're affiliated with. Don't be an asshole. Don't do any harm, and if you can, spread a little bit of good.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much accepted for who you are, even though you may be a Democrat, you may be a Republican, whatever. We're just here to enjoy life, and that's really the key to it all.
It's also it's really the only way through, I think, politically I think we're in a particularly difficult moment. Yeah, there's a lot of polarization, and I think the only way through is to be like, okay, well, let me meet you as a person.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can figure out, like, if we align on different things from there.
And I think that's really what, obviously, Helene and other disasters really does. It breaks down the barriers because you're so concerned with just living.
Mm-hmm.
And especially at a time like that, a crisis time, you don't care about the color of somebody's skin, what religion they are, what political affiliation they are. You're just trying to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we're gonna have more of those, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Disaster moments, but perhaps more opportunities to be kind to each other if you're looking at it from a glass half full.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get off the West Gate here.
Front K-band.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate when those things happen, but I wish the effects, kind of like 9/11 and things like that, I wish they would last longer. So it almost seems like disasters are almost necessary in an odd sense to bring people back together again.
It is a very interesting half-life.
Yeah.
But I think the other part is disasters are happening all the time. It's just how immediately you feel affected by them, and that is such a hard line, because I think because they're happening all the time, you kind of have to keep your head down and keep walking most of the time to do the things that we were just saying, like live and find groceries and continue to be in a mortal form in some way.
Distractions are good things.
Yeah.
They really are. They help us get away from certain trains of thought and things like that. And even it was funny, I was talking with someone who was in the hearing field, and we were talking about ringing in the ears, tinnitus, I guess is what it's called. And she was saying that a lot of studies that they're dealing with and being able to combat that has to do with sound perception. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, if we both hear a sound, we may understand it two different ways. That's our own individual perceptions on things. So she was kind of getting into that, and I was like, I think I know what you're talking about, because even when I got home and I wasn't even thinking about it, I didn't hear the ringing in my ears, and my head is really where I hear it. But as soon as I started thinking about it, I heard it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's like distractions, sometimes can be very beneficial and things like that, and especially distracting you from trauma and things, and quite the opposite. I would distract myself at work when I was a pool guy with music. I'm just la-da-da, brushing a pool down, listening to music and stuff like that. But when I was going through my divorce, I was like, I got to put my head on. So I turned the music off, and I'd put a notepad in my back pocket. And that way things would come to me, and I'd write them down as I was working instead of just wasting my time listening because of the importance of everything.
Yeah. I think that the brain is an interesting thing. There are all these studies about, and forgive me, I don't even remember how this thought was connected, but I might get to it. There are all these studies about phantom limb,
yes,
and how there's treatment that if you line a patient up who perhaps is missing an arm, and then line them up with a mirror and have them scratch the arm that they do have in the mirror. The other arm, or the arm that is no longer there, will feel the relief, because the brain is seeing the second arm get scratched.
Yeah, I didn't think the mirror thing.
And that is, it's not a distraction, but it is just a way of, I guess, visualizing something different when the reality that you're in feels so concrete. And I think that is a lot of what, especially the sound thing. It's. I I was just in a restaurant and somebody said, wow, that woman's voice is so grating, and I hadn't noticed her voice at all until they said that, and then it was all I could hear, you know. So it's just where your attention is.
Yeah, very much. No, and that's something I remember when she told me that. I was like, oh, that's so true. I was like, we were really good at that as teenagers, you know, when our parents were talking and stuff, you know. I remember so many times I'd be like, what, Mom?